Hi guys, welcome back to Tech Talks with Rachel. I'm back with another interview at Black is Tech. We're having a great time, aren't we?
We are, definitely.
So I'm joined here with John, or Jonathan, and he's an expert in, the scary word, AI. So Jonathan, could you give us a brief intro about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Jonathan Exume. I am the President and Executive Director of Technologists of Color. We are a workforce development nonprofit, and what we do is we curate events and experiences that are tech-focused. We focus on AI, robotics, software engineering, and we do a little bit of cyber as well. So we help minorities get into tech, and we work with different companies.
One thing I love about these conferences is networking.
Yes.
Yesterday I was vlogging.
Yes, she was. She was vlogging. Yes.
I was going through the crowd, like trying to take a video of everything, and I bumped into John. He was so friendly. He was like, "Hi, you okay?" And we struck up a conversation, and I got to learn so much about AI.
Yes, you did.
So I then peer pressured you into this interview.
Pressured? No. I thoroughly enjoy interviews, so I'm always willing to share, my love, my passion with others. So this is great.
So I'm excited for this conversation. Tell us how you got into tech initially.
So this is a very interesting story. I'll give you the short version. So I got into tech. I was inspired by my aunt. My aunt gave me a computer when I was 8 years old because I love to play games. And while playing the games, I had to type all this code. And when it didn't work, it forced me to figure out why it didn't work. And once I was able to, get past that, I just had a love of computers. Believe it or not, I actually had a scholarship to MIT when I graduated high school, but because my parents were from the islands, they didn't let me go. So I had to find a college near home because they weren't ready to send me away. So. My tech journey started early. I started in computer tech sales. Then I left, worked at Apple. Believe it or not, I worked at Apple for almost 10 years in different avenues. And then from there, I got into my first, what I call real tech job, helping build software applications. So it started when I was 8 years old.
That's impressive. When I was 8, I used to just turn on the computer on and off, and I think we had that thing. Did you have it in the US, LimeWire?
We did. We had LimeWire, yes. So I was a very big LimeWire user. So I would, download music, make CDs for my friends. And it was very intriguing as to how LimeWire worked. I was the guy that got everybody all their music. So when they wanted a song, they would give me a list. I would go on LimeWire, get it, burn it on a CD, and give it to them. So,
in terms of your day-to-day role now, what do you do Monday to Friday, 9 to 5?
So Monday through Friday, I am part of I'm a fractional CTO for a brand new social media platform for HBCU students. So students that went to historically black colleges as well as alumni called HBCU Made. I also run my nonprofit, Technologists of Color. I'm the president and executive director, so I work with different organizations, helping them get black talent, as well as, believe it or not, I also I have my own consulting company working with different clients, as well as I also manage a project called the Georgia AIM Project, which is a project to get manufacturing and AI to rural areas in the state of Georgia. So my day-to-day consists of me managing technically 4 different jobs across a 5-day week, and I kind of break it down maybe like each one is like 7 to 10 hours a week to manage.
Do you manage to sleep and eat and socialize and have a family life?
I do. I have, I tell you, my life is on a calendar. So usually how I plan my weeks, case in point, next week, I've already planned it 2 weeks ago. So if it's not on my calendar, I'm not gonna do it. So my life is scheduled. So I have time, I have a daughter, she's into arts and technology. My family, spending time with my family, that's all on my calendar. So I have to put everything on my calendar because of me basically working 4 different businesses. I have to have it all documented so that I know where I need to be and how I need to get there. So my life is on a calendar.
Okay, so let's go into the conversation we were having last night.
Right.
The movie by Will Smith, what was it called that you mentioned?
iRobot. The movie
Okay,
iRobot.
he's created an iRobot, actual robot like that looks like a dog, and he's programmed it to speak to people. And ideally, you want it to do like museum tours and like basically replace people's jobs.
Aid people, not replace their job, but aid them in their work. So what she's talking about is we have a robot dog called Go. It's from a company, it's called Go2. It's the second version of this robot dog. If anyone's familiar with Boston Dynamics, you know, they have their own dog Spot. That dog, when we priced it, is well over $200,000 to get one. So we found another company which makes a similar robot dog for a lot less. What we're doing as part of the Georgia AIM project is we're training this dog that we have to do different things. So, you know, one of the things that we're training it on is being able to do tours. So imagine you go to a manufacturing facility and the robot dog greets you and then gives you the tour or takes you around the plant. We're also looking at other ways we can leverage the robot dog to help people in manufacturing. So case in point, if let's say you work in a manufacturing facility and you have, let's say, Joe on the right side of the building and he needs to get a message to Jim on the other side of the building about changes, imagine the robot dog being the courier in the facility to be able to give it a message, it goes across the manufacturing facility to tell the other person. So we're looking at different use cases. And what we're doing is we're going to be programming those use cases, you know, with this dog. So what we do is we do research. So we ask these companies to tell us their problems, and we figure out how we can solve those problems with, let's say, the robot dog and all the other cool tools that we have.
So how big is your development team? Do you do all the dev work yourself, or are you heading that, or are you just kind of overseeing from afar?
A little bit of both. So our team is based of actually 4 companies, right? So we have the Russell Center, which is an innovation hub in Atlanta, University of Georgia, which is a college, of course, in Georgia, Kit Labs, as well as my organization, Technologists of Color. So we're all working together. I would say the people working on this is probably about 6 or 7 people. At some points, it's up to like 10 or 12 if we need more resources. And then what we do is UGA helps us with the research. So they have a lot of data. We analyze the data, and we figure out how we can leverage that data to come out with some outcomes that we can then take when we go on tour, show these companies, hey, based on this data, here's a use case that you can use it for. And then if they're interested, we want to help them connect to consultants who can help configure and get them these tools that they need.
So if people within the tech industry want to break into an AI field, how best would they be able to transition into, say, an AI role as a developer, AI role as a software tester?
Right.
I want to be able to see in practice how to become part of squads like these.
So the best way, you got to be curious, okay? Number 2 is there are plenty of resources online. One of my favorite resources for folks who want to learn how to train is a website called Kaggle that has a lot of data sets. There are great websites. My favorite is deeplearning.ai. It is run by Andrew Ng. If you don't know who Andrew Ng is, he is one of the forefront leaders in the AI space. He is the man who created a lot of the documentation for Google on the topic of AI. So his website has a lot of great articles and steps and step-by-step guides that you can learn from to help build whatever you want to build.
So what's the statistic that you highlighted?
Statistic. So the statistic I highlighted was PhDs in artificial AI. So of all the PhDs in the artificial AI space, Black and brown people are 3.8%. Hispanic people or Latin American people are 6.4%, Asian is 24%, and the white population is 63%.
So how do you feel about the black people who are like, oh, we need to be in these spaces? How do you feel like they're doing enough to be in those spaces and to get these qualifications?
So I would say yes or no. And now, in terms of there are, there's a lot of, people hiding things and not being able to share information. But the thing is, nowadays, there is so much open source. I think the problem is folks see and hear people successful. When they look at the actual work, they're afraid to do the work. And I have to tell you, in this space, you have to do the work. The beautiful thing about here is there are every big player, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they all have open source information and they have documentation. One of the things that I do find is people do not want to read. They want to watch videos and learn. And you can do that. YouTube is a great resource. You can find a lot of influential people who create YouTube classes and show things. The concern is that there's also an issue of people who are on these platforms who are giving misinformation, who will say, you can be a AI specialist in 10 days. That is not the case. I've been studying AI now since 2018. Okay, so I've gone to conferences, and I just immerse myself in the work because it's changing every single day. And so what we need to do is the resources are available, and I'm the kind of person, if you don't know where the resources are, I can help you find them. But you have to have the hunger to do the work. And the thing is, a lot of times, they want to do it, but they want the easy way. They want the easy pill, they don't want the hard work pill. And so we have to be comfortable with doing the work, because I can tell you, when you do the work, it pays off on the other side.
I'm guilty of wanting the easy way out.
Right? Yes. And the thing is, a lot of people are, because, when OpenAI dropped ChatGPT, you notice a lot of people were making money. A lot of young people who are not black had an idea, did the work, started companies. And the thing is, as I watched, I always ask myself, why do they have the drive and we don't? Because what we tend to do, which is a problem, especially I would say in the US, is that we sit back and wait. We wait for people to be successful, and then we want to jump in, on the back end and say, I want to be successful. When you see all the work they had to do, we're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I just want I want the end result, but I don't want to do all the work that it entails to get that. And my push is we got to do the work. And I'm telling you, if you spend some time doing the work, you'll be able to reap the rewards of what this can offer.
Okay, so what new trends and technologies do you think are coming up in the near future, say 5 to 10 years from now, that we should position ourselves to succeed in?
So right now there's a big thing called agents, AI agents. And what AI agents are, taking a task and simplifying it where you can train a model to do that specific task. What's happening now is there are companies that are figuring out, okay, how do I write a resume, right? So I create a agent that can generate a resume, right? Now I take that agent and now I have another agent that I build. How can I offer interviewing? Like, I want to give you some interview prep. So I create an agent that generates questions of interview prep. You have another agent that can take video of how you interview. And what's happening is that people are taking these big tasks or these big things, simplifying them in their own agent, and now combining all these agents and creating one solution. So they're taking repetitive tasks, making the AI agent do that one thing, and then combining it with others to create a complete solution. So I see that happening. The other big thing is...
Just to stop you there, how do I create this agent?
So you create this agent. There are tons of tools online. Believe it or not, Google, in my opinion, has the best training. It's free. You go on their website. You can Google how to create an agent on Google's site. It'll take you to their training. Some of their training, like the complete course, I believe, is like in 45-minute segments. So you can take literally 8-9 courses. I would say take 2 a day. You go through the training, you go through the actual exercise of creating it. And then by the end, you'll be able to create your own and now take the ideas in your head and say, okay, I created this agent. What things that I see that are broken that I want to fix? And now I want to create agents to fix those. And once you figure that out and you create the agents, now how do I combine a set of agents to work as one whole team? Okay.
I'm so excited with that. I think I'm going to try my best to create an agent after this.
Yes.
You had one more pointer. Do you remember? Sorry, I cut you off. Of the new trends and emerging things to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So of course, another new trend is robotics, AI and robotics, right? So NVIDIA, if you don't know who NVIDIA is the big player in the chip industry, in the technology. Robotics is coming. So computer vision, which is a big thing where people are using cameras and are training it to pick up things. So if you have an opportunity to go to Las Vegas, if you go to Caesar's Palace, there's the NFL shop. I'm a big football fan. I love football. Last year when I went to Las Vegas, they have now removed the cashier. So the cashier just holds a bag. And what they did is they have a bucket with a bunch of cameras in it. And all the things you want, you just drop it in the bucket. And then the cameras know every single item. You literally just take the bucket, drop it in there, and then in seconds it gives you a total, and the person just hands you a bag. Right? All AI. Drop. So now, no more having to put one item and scanning. You just dump everything into the bucket. There's cameras all around. It gives you your total. And mind you, I'm in the space. When I witnessed it myself, I said, well, how does it know? How does it know?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, it knows. And he handed me a bag, and I put my items in the bag, and that was it. And then I was so shocked that I went out the store, took all the items out, and counted it myself. And I was like, I didn't even show a tag. I just dropped it in a bucket. And it was able to know every item, what it costs, give me a total, and all he did was hand me a bag.
So right now, I just want to highlight that you've told us things to learn, and I can hear the jobs that are getting destroyed here. Cashiers, for example, we're not going to have even people handing us bags. It's just going to be people are probably not going to be in the shop. So that kind of thing is going to get eliminated from a lot of supermarkets, a lot of shops, right? So that's most of those jobs gone. And then things like you replacing tour guides in museums, that's going to be gone.
We're aiding the tour guide.
Okay, so
Making their job easier.
Okay, so if for example all these different roles are getting diminished, you've also talked about things like that we can position ourselves in to understand how to then maybe be in a sphere in AI where we can work with AI, so understanding how to build the agents, understanding the robotics, understanding then how can I develop software for companies that are generating AI and things like that. Is that the best place to be in employment within the next 5 to 10 years?
So the secret, and this is the piece of advice I give everybody, the people who will lose their jobs are the people who don't use AI. The biggest threat that I tell people in terms of AI is the person who works with you that knows AI. They will eliminate your job. Even though, yes, it is true, there are going to be some jobs eliminated, but it's going to create new jobs because we're going to need jobs of how to train these agents. We're going to, when companies start initiating robotics, we're going to need people who understand how the robots work and to troubleshoot them, analyze the data to help us improve the robots. We're going to have, even using the supermarket or the store example, we're not going to have cashiers. Now, when we look at what a cashier does, it is a boring, repetitive job. Now, some may like it, but it's a boring, repetitive job. Imagine now we just have one person or two people in the front who are just surveying and allowing you, the person, because there's cameras now, there's even, I went to a store and I wanted to test to see how well it knew. I took an item and put it in my cart, and the system knew that I did not scan that item. And so, but the person in front saw everything, so, it was no big deal. But I was just testing it to see, well, how well does it know? Yes, we'll need less people to do those jobs, but we're going to create a whole new, all these new jobs. And what we need to do is we need to understand how it works and how we position ourselves to get those jobs, because new jobs will be created from all this.
My mind is blown, as always, talking about AI. And you know what? I'm at a position now where I'm like, I feel like I've gotten a lot of information that has been a lot more practical. I don't know. I feel like America knows what they're talking about, because I feel like I've learned so much in the 2 days that I've been here. And now I'm at a position where I can actually strongly position myself either as a software test engineer or a new discipline within AI. So thank you so much for sharing that knowledge.
Sure. So I did want to share, in terms of your space, Rachel, of being a software tester. So imagine you're a software tester like Rachel is, right? And so how do you leverage AI to do your job better? So now imagine you have all this experience in testing. You train a model to understand the concepts of testing, and now leverage that model to be able to generate test scripts for you that you can, over time, train over and over again. So now what may have taken you 2-3 weeks or months to produce when it comes to testing, you're able to take all that knowledge that you have and train a machine to produce it for you in days or maybe even weeks. How much more efficient you become, how much less work that you have to do. And because you have the ammo in your belt to do this, you can then also, a company won't need 200 testers to test. They'll just need 50, but they might need another 50 to continue to train and manage the model on the other side. Or it may even generate other tools that we now have testers that create new things from their experience to help feed these systems. So you can basically take what you do and 10x yourself, and what would take you months, you'd be able to complete in weeks and days.
This is the part that I liked about our conversation yesterday. I've actually been motivated to try and find a way to systemize a lot of my testing. So I'm really excited to do that when I get home.
Yes.
What's the best advice that you've received career-wise that you would like to pass on to the viewers?
Okay. The best advice I was given, this advice I was given about 10 years ago. The advice was, when you make it in your tech career, go back and bring someone else. And I took that to heart, and that's what drives what I do. 10 years ago, I didn't understand that. I was focused on me.
Yeah.
But then when I look back, and I'm the only person working in these spaces, I need friends. And so a mentor of mine, he told me, John, when you make it, your job is to go back and bring someone else. And then the more people, and then that person does the same thing. And then when you look over time, you're not the only person in the building. You have a team of people, all like-minded, all creating solutions. That's what the future needs to be. We need to have more of us in these spaces, more of us sharing information, more of us sharing our knowledge, and the world will be a better place.
I love that so much, because even for me, this is why Tech Talks exists. I would love to bring as many people who look like me, or anyone from my background, from a working class background, to be in this space where they're able to upskill themselves and give themselves the life that they want to live. Because I'm passionate about making a good living. So if your job doesn't allow you to have a good quality of life, I'm passionate about giving you the keys to do that within tech, because that is the next big thing right now. And obviously now we're equipping people with the AI knowledge so that they're not out of a job if they're a developer, for example, right? So where do we find you?
You can find me on social. I'm on Instagram at IamJohn77. So that's spelled IAM JON77, or you can find me on LinkedIn as Jonathan Exume, or Twitter as Johnny Zoom, spelled JONYZUME.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks, guys, for listening as well. I'll see you in the next one.
All right.
Bye.